Here's what's happening right now. The Boone County Sheriff's Department is investigating the death of a 13-year-old Hallsville student. The student's mom is calling it a suicide. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reek.
And I'm Brittany Pieper. Now, the student's mom believes bullying could have been a main contributor to her daughter's death. This just weeks after a coroner's inquest in Glasgow determined a teen's suicide was directly caused by bullying. KOMU 8's Lauren Barnes has been in touch with her, the mother, and is live in Hallsville with the latest. Lauren?
Well, Brittany and Jim, I have to tell you, it really does look like an ordinary empty night here at the Hallsville Middle School. There is truly no sign of this tragic event having occurred just yesterday. Live in Hallsville tonight, Lauren Barnes, KOMU 8 News.
Ferguson voters re-elected Mayor James Knowles last night in their first election since the fatal shooting of Michael Brown in 2014. Knowles defeated City Council member Ella Jones. Jones would have become the city's first black mayor. Residents, activists, and protesters say they're doubtful anything will change. Knowles argued his experience would be valuable, guiding the city through a period of reform. In mid-Missouri, Ashland voters had school board candidates on their ballot yesterday. In a bizarre twist, one race ended in a tie. In an even more bizarre twist, KOMU 8's Mackenzie Huck tells us how the tie could be broken.
4 candidates ran for positions on the Southern Boone County School Board last night. The only problem is that there's only 3 seats and 2 candidates tied. Reporting live in Ashland, Mackenzie Huck, KOMU 8 News.
Jefferson City residents voted to build a second public high school yesterday, and the timeline's already in motion. Superintendent Larry Linthicum says the plan is to open the school in the fall of 2019. He added it's safe to say Lewis and Clark students will attend the current high school, while Thomas Jefferson students will attend the new high school. And the final boundary lines are close to set, but subject to change. The tax rate is also close to final, with $1.10 per tax-paying resident for building and operating the schools. Those funds will be split among the schools with a gradual tax implementation leading up to the 2019 opening. Linthicum says adding a new school pushes the district to new heights.
We want our schools to be an asset for our community, and as we're trying to raise the bar in everything we do, we want to be the premier school district in the state of Missouri.
Linthicum did not comment on when boundary lines would be finalized, but invited the community to discuss the upcoming school tax rates at the August board meeting.
A group of Missouri landowners met at the Capitol today. They hope their stories about eminent domain will be heard. KOMU 8's Justice Henderson spent the day at the Capitol. She joins us here in the studio with their story.
Jim and Brittany, I spent the day talking to men and women from the group Neighbors United who are afraid that transmission projects could affect their land. They gave testimonies about why House Bills 640 and 745 should be put into place. In the studio, Justice Henderson, KOMU 8 News.
Also in Jefferson City, 5 years after his 8-hour filibuster on prescription drug monitoring legislation, Senator Rob Schaaf has changed his stance. Last night, Schaaf announced his support for a program requiring physicians to log patients with prescribed controlled substances through a database. Medications with high street value and abuse, such as Xanax, Adderall, and opioids, would be flagged. Columbia recently adopted a similar program. Schaaf has concerns it will work.
Those programs don't require physicians to actually use it. So my feeling is that if we're losing our liberty and they're going to put our private medical information on a government database, the doctors ought to at least use it.
Schaaf thinks a Missouri PDMP will pass this legislative session.
Missouri's Attorney General Josh Hawley filed 2 sets of criminal charges against a Mississippi County sheriff. The first complaint accuses Sheriff Corey Hutchison of forgery and tampering with computer data. The second complaint charges Hutchison with assault and robbery in the case of an arrest of a 77-year-old woman. The complaint says he handcuffed the woman with enough force that she suffered a heart attack.
Today, strong words from President Trump condemning the recent chemical attack in Syria.
This as the president prepares to discuss another hostile regime, North Korea. We want to warn you, some of the images you're about to see might be disturbing to some. NBC's Blaine Alexander reports.
And His Majesty,
Standing beside the visiting King Abdullah of Jordan, President Trump using much of the joint news conference to issue his strongest words to date against the Syrian regime. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Washington.
President Trump removed Chief Strategist Steve Bannon from the National Security Council. A top White House official says Bannon was only put on the council as a check against former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. And now that Flynn is gone, Bannon's no longer needed in a role. Critics have said it was inappropriate for Bannon to play a role on national security matters. Rain moving through today. Kenton says the rest of the week looks pretty dry, though, so let's check in with him for a look at the forecast.
Turn the show.
Kenton thinks the latest project at MU's nuclear reactor could help cancer patients.
And what specialists say about cancer patients' recovery.